Transfer student experience.
The transfer student experience.
The transfer student experience.
You're obviously an alumni and you did poli-sci at USC, now in marketing, and you're also a bit of a DJ
Just a little bit.
on the side.
Just a little bit. I like to spread myself very wide. Also applying to law school in a couple months, and we're going to see how that goes. So I'm doing a little bit of a job internally so we can get some formal work experience. I really think USC has contributed to my ability to actually diversify and really get a foothold in a lot of different things that I didn't think I would do when I first transferred to USC.
Being well-rounded is sort of a strength that you see USC offering.
Absolutely. I think it was the biggest lesson I took away is that you have to cast a wide net and really take initiative and take advantage of your opportunities, wherever they may be. If you get a club or an internship opportunity, a class, really insert yourself in there and see what you can get out of it.
Poli-sci, law, that sort of seems like a straightforward trajectory. Why did you gravitate towards marketing?
I got a really cool opportunity through actually another alumni that was taking a business class a few years before me, and just one connection led to another connection. That's the strength of the Trojan family. And I ended up, having a year off before I formally started law school, and I thought I would get a little bit of formal work experience. However, my job right now currently isn't limited to marketing. I research, especially with COVID now. I think I have a lot more responsibilities than just marketing, but the initial start of this whole program was just for me to get my feet wet in something other than the law and see, how business goes, how issue advocacy goes, how nonprofits go. And I think that was my biggest benefit, is just, again, willing to really explore different avenues. So I guess what led to marketing was just a need to kind of explore and get some formal work experience before law school.
And so, when you were studying poli-sci, what were some classes that you found challenging but ended up being rewarding, that ended up teaching you a lot?
Every major in every school has a sort of like let's say flagship class or a very difficult class that is kind of at the top. It's kind of the pinnacle of whatever political science program. I think USC has two. One is for learning and one is more for pre-law students. There's a constitutional law class taught by Professor Auerbach. His class is kind of like a simulation law course. It's known that if you want to go to law school, you should take his class and see that if you can handle it or if you can enjoy the content and structure of the class, especially with his cold calling and things like that. If you can enjoy that class and if you can do well in that class, then law school might not be a bad choice for you. That class was considered pretty difficult. I got a B+, but I studied really hard and I was rather disappointed because I studied probably harder than I had in any community college course for any test before that. I barely squeaked away with a B+. And so when I was doing the class in real time, I thought to myself, wow, this was a difficult class. But every day I walked in there, I really was excited to learn something cool about the law, kind of like a nutty professor vibe. I walked into class and he said, hey, if you want to get away with murder, don't leave the site where you killed. Something really crazy. That was his opening statement to the class. If you want to get away with murder, just kill somebody and then sit down on the floor. And that introduction was so fascinating and so electric to me that I thought this is exactly what I want to be doing. From the first 50 words he said, the first hypothetical he gave us, I just absolutely fell in love with the law, and even more than before. That was one class and still one of my favorite classes to this day. And the other class was Professor Robert Shrum. He's like a renowned political consultant and democratic strategist. He teaches you the difference between policy and politics and how to balance those two things if you're in government. And that was another amazing, absolutely horizon broadening class that I think was just the pinnacle of like what political science is about. And if you're there to learn, he really, and again, the connections thing, he wrote my letter of recommendation for law school. He went out to bat for me. We had great conversations. We often debated ferociously, and then we disagreed and shook hands at the end of the day. And I think that was something really unique about USC's political science program, is most of the classes have 15 students. If you're sick, the next day, the professor goes, how are you? You missed class. Let's make it up. You want to come back and we can talk about notes. I don't think you get that experience in many other universities.
What was the most difficult part of ramping up as a transfer for you?
I would say, like you said, assimilating into Trojan society is a little bit difficult. Like you said, transfers I'm not going to say they don't get good treatment, but we don't get the treatment that undergraduates get just by virtue of being transfers. And I know that TSC is really instrumental in helping bridge that gap. The most difficult thing in terms of assimilating into like Trojan society is that when you're a transfer, a lot of clubs and a lot of, extracurricular activities have unit requirements. So you probably have to complete 12, 15, 20 units above a certain GPA to get into some honor societies, some clubs. And I think that was a barrier because as most students only have 2 years, you kind of have to use your first semester, play your cards right, so that your second semester, which is already your third year technically, to get into any internships or fellowships or club opportunities. I think that was kind of the biggest rub I had about USC, especially having been a spring transfer. So I really couldn't do anything until my senior year.
And so more to that point, I know sometimes when we transfer into college, we definitely experience challenges in how the university communicates resources, whether that be not enough resources or too many. I know my inbox is crazy full of just events and stuff, and a lot of people that struggle with that. And even just different organizations to get involved in, there's challenges there. But what communication challenges did you face? And what would you wish that TSC as a student organization could do better?
100% the registration process for classes. TSC would have been instrumental to my ability to both earn better grades and get better classes at better times. Had I known how the registration process really worked. USC communicates a lot about internships and opportunities and classes, but they don't really tell you the proper way to sign up for courses. They don't really tell you that this course, even though we open a few spots when it's registration time, not everyone's going to get to take this class, not maybe 1 or 2 people instead of 20, 30, or 40. And I think that was the biggest hit that I had, is that we didn't get a chance to kind of research classes beforehand. They didn't give us, a broad guide of, courses. And if our major is this, then we should go down this avenue of courses. And there's this extra degree program that you can take. I think USC also doesn't do a good job of letting you know that whether you take 12 units or you take 18 units, you're getting charged the same amount. So you should probably double major or minor in something, find a way to take classes that covers both avenues, a general election and maybe, some sort of language requirements, something like that. I feel like if I would have had the chance to learn how the registration process works a little better, that would have been such a benefit to my first semester that I would have done a lot better. And I was pretty disappointed for quite a while at how my orientation day went, especially being a spring transfer.
Can you tell me what you think the greatest attributes are about the best performing lawyers and how going to USC gives you an edge over someone that hasn't gone to USC?
In my limited experience about law school, I know that a lot of it is about how you can sell yourself. Getting in is about how you can sell yourself. Once you get into school, going to interviews on campus, meeting with the right professors that are going to recommend you or give you opportunities, those types of things, the connections, again, I'm going to circle back to that word, the connections and how you present yourself to people is probably so important. And I think the edge that USC provides is really forcing you to get out there, make connections, take initiative, and really diversify your palette. If I wanted to call a friend in journalism that's a writer right now because of some classes that I took, I can do that. If I wanted to call athletes, I could do that. I have some famous NFL players' phone numbers now. That's the kind of benefit that you get, is you get to meet so many people from different walks of life that are also willing to help you and also want to see you succeed, because your success, again, is the Trojan family's success. That's the most distinctive edge USC provides, is just allowing you to sell yourself to somebody and allowing you to make connections so that when the time comes, you can cash it in. Besides that, also the academic rigor is pretty top notch. I have friends in other universities across the country that had a much easier time, maybe for the right reasons or for the wrong reasons, than I did. And so I really know that the academic rigor combined with the connections and USC is kind of like forcing you to get out there is what really makes this university distinctive. And I would, never trade the education I got for anything.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. What did you feel made you stand out in your transfer application?
I attempted to transfer in 1 year. So I took, I think, 61 units in my first year of community college. I think I used my essays to really supplement the fact that I wanted to work hard. And my GPA wasn't a 4.0. So I really wanted to show the admissions committee through my writing, both that I'm a passionate advocate. I have, for example, ethical and moral clarity. Besides that I'm going to work hard, and that given my transcripts as a supplement, that I'm going to do the best with the opportunities that I have around me. And I really think I drove that home in my optional essays, meaning I'm going to contribute to your political science program in this way. I'm a member of this political science, related issue advocacy group, and I'm going to continue that when I get to USC, and I'm going to expand on it and learn from it and hopefully contribute to it at the same time. So I think those kind of things helped me drive the point home. More my transcripts, and then I supplemented the transcripts with statements that really drove my dedication to the study of political science.
People can sort of harp on the fact that transfer students start on that back foot and they go through a rough time. What value is there in being a transfer student, and what lessons could you take with you into future work and life?
There is, I think, unlimited value in diversifying where you can study. In community college, I went to school with moms. I went to school with 16-year-old, 14-year-old, really, really smart, really driven individuals. I went to school with people that, after high school, they had to go work. And then at the age of 21, 22, 23, they came back. And so they had a different, broad perspective of the workforce, of the difficulty of working, of raising a family. Those types of things gave me such a great perspective, so that when I went to USC and had a different environment, I really got to enjoy a diverse set of viewpoints and perspectives. But then also the insane value of being a transfer is that you save so much money and you get to double dip in the pie. You get 2 experiences, 2 sets of professors, 2 geographic locations, and you get to kind of explore in community college a lot of classes that you might not be able to, maybe for financial reasons or timing reasons, in university. So by the time I got to USC, I had taken a good amount of classes to the point where I knew exactly what I thought was going to be my passion. And I knew that I really liked criminal justice type classes and business law type classes. I didn't like as much science related classes, and I didn't like as much math related classes. Obviously, I'm a political science major, so I got lucky in that respect. But in that way, I think community college really benefited me. So the diverse viewpoints, saving money, and then the enjoyment of being a little bit more mature when you transfer in is a great benefit. Some people will go straight from high school, they'll matriculate, and they will have a much more difficult time getting used to how college works. But I think community college really prepared me to ease myself in. And well, for financial reasons or otherwise, it benefited me tremendously to have both avenues of learning. And transfers are more fun, I don't want to cast a broad net here, but we're a lot of what drives the social life of the university. We're a lot of what drives programs. We're advocates for each other and advocates for our broader university. I think we have a great sense of spirit and pride for the universities that kind of adopt us into their greatness. That is what makes transfers a really valuable addition to any school, is that we're fun people. Some of us are parents. Some of us are working professionals. Some of us, didn't have a great high school, but got a chance to redeem ourselves. And now we're willing to prove that we deserve to be here.
If you could go back in time and give a younger Ryan one tip, what would you tell him?
Number 1, do your research. Make sure you know how to register for courses the right way. Look at degree programs, progressive degree programs where you can get a master's in 3 years with your bachelor's. Look at concurrent degree programs and double majors, double minors. look at where your courses can overlap with other areas of study so that you can get a second bachelor's degree with relative ease. Or a second minor, you're paying for 18 units. Whether you take 12 or 18, you're paying for 18. So you might as well just take it. And something else I would say is get out there and explore. Go to every event, meet every person, shake every hand. Don't shake every hand right now.
Wash after you shake every hand.
Figuratively, or wash after shaking your hand, and really soak it in, because it is an experience unlike any you've ever had. A tight-knit community as a microcosm in a larger place like downtown is something that is invaluable to your life and to your education. And make friends, Find people, find your niche. At a school like USC is big enough that if you wanted to go to the origami club in the morning, go to the wrestling club at night, the mountain bikers club the next day, and the mountain climbers club the next week after, you can do that. Video game club, anything you want. And clubs aren't like how they were in high school. So a lot of people think that, clubs at USC or at any university have tremendous institutional support, as well as a lot of ways to have fun that you wouldn't get in high school. So those are the three things I think I would put out there for any younger me or any other transfer. Take advantage of your situation, take initiative, and do your research.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with me, Ryan.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, William.
Of course, take care, man.
Right on.
Right on.
The transfer student experience.
The transfer student